Welcome back. We have an absolutely positively amazing podcast for all of you today. I know we always say that, but you test what I just said after you've listened to today's podcast, and you tell me whether or not you agree. Because today's podcast is 2025 housing boom predictions. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through all the reasons why you should be absolutely off the charts excited and motivated about being in the real estate industry right now. Not just the rest of this year, but certainly leading into next year is going to be what very much will feel like an amazing housing boom. And we're going to give you all the facts. Now, here's some facts for you. If you want today's podcast notes, which all of you should want, you need to go to harrisrealestatedaily.com. That is our daily newsletter where you can obviously download all that day's podcast notes as well as listen to the podcast itself. harrisrealestatedaily.com is the only place where our notes are available for all of you to download. We write our notes every single day so that you can obviously use them as reference, but also so that you can use them for training your team, agents in your office, or you can use these notes also for social. So I spent a lot of time on the notes, the points we're about to share with you, and I designed them in such a way that you can actually take the pertinent facts from each of these points, and you can actually translate it exactly to like a short Instagram video or something like that. So make sure you go to harrisrealestatedaily.com and use these notes. We're doing our best to help you through this challenging housing market, so make sure you're smart and you use all the things that we're creating for you. Speaking of which, we have over 500 of you who've expressed interest in being part of our inaugural Ethical Real Estate Professional designation, our new program that we have in the real estate industry. And this is going to be your opportunity to be one of the founders in the Ethical Real Estate Professional designation, which we do believe very much is going to be a movement in the industry. And what it is the designation is going to be a turnkey business solution for real estate agents who are wanting to master the art and the science of being exclusive buyer agents. Now, we're going to have other versions of Ethical Real Estate Professional that come out over time, one for luxury real estate, one for new construction, things like that. But first things first, where the need was the most is definitely helping you guys get past the hurdle of creating value in the eyes of the prospective consumer to get them to want to sign exclusively with you. This is a turnkey business solution. There's presentations, there's scripts, there's objection handlers, there's contracts, every possible thing, lead generation ideas, all the things. And this is going to be a prestigious designation called Ethical Real Estate Professional. We are building, this is what's taking so long, by the way, dear listener, we're building a standalone website. Each of you are going to have your own websites as well. So it's going to be like Ethical Real Estate Professional, /Julie. And this is going to be something that you can truly use to differentiate yourself in the marketplace. Everybody talks about showing your value. Everybody talks about your USP, your unique selling proposition. We didn't want to have you struggle to find out what your USP should be, so we've created them for you. You need to get on this list to be invited to the webinar for the launch event that we're hopefully having the next couple of weeks, depending on how fast our team gets done with their work. Team, are you listening? So all you have to do is text the word buyer, B-U-Y-E-R, to 47372. Text the word buyer, B-U-Y-E-R, to 47372. Go ahead and do it now. You can do it while you're listening to us. All of you listen to us on your iPhones, your Androids. Text the word buyer, B-U-Y-E-R, to 47372, and you will be on the list to be part of the launch group for Ethical Real Estate Professional. This is a designation, it's a product, and it's also going to be a coaching program. So text the word buyer, B-U-Y-E-R, to 47372. When we are ready to launch it, we're going to have an exclusive webinar for those that are on that list. And then you're going to get a text. It's going to invite you to sign up for the webinar. You're going to join the webinar, and then we're off to the races. So text the word buyer, B-U-Y-E-R, B-U-Y-E-R, to 47372. All right, Julie, let's get to these points.
2025 housing boom predicted. Here's why all of you should be excited. Real estate agents, listeners, it is time to look ahead with optimism. After a few tough years in the housing market, things are about to turn around in a big way. Experts are predicting a surge in housing activity starting in 2025, possibly even sooner, and that's something that we can all get excited about. Whether that's falling interest rates, favorable demographic shifts, or an increase in new construction, the future of the housing market is bright. So let's break down what's coming and why now is the best time to prepare for the opportunities ahead. All of these points, by the way, as Tim said, are great talking points when you're out talking to people, you're at open houses, you're following up with your leads, you're talking to somebody at a party, and of course, you can break these down into some social media posts yourself.
Now, I realize what we're going to be sharing with you today is the exact opposite of what most of you guys are consuming on social. And I have news for you. That's the smart way to think. If everybody's thinking the sky is falling, if everyone's being pessimistic, you need to be optimistic. If everyone's being being optimistic, you need to maybe be a little bit pessimistic. Right now, the vibe in real estate is absolutely, for the most part, everywhere you turn, is really the winds are, blowing us backwards. Well, what's happening, and no one's really paying attention, is the winds are definitely shifting to be at our backs. And these are going to be the reasons why. Do not allow yourself to get sucked into the malaise and the emotional quagmire that a lot of agents get sucked into, especially this time of year. So frankly, guys, this is the right place. You're in the right place at the right time. Now get your mindset together. And Julie, what is point number one?
Point number one, interest rates could drop below 5%. Get ready for more buyers. Interest rates have hovered around 6 or in the low 6s recently, but let's not forget how high rates were back in the 80s, above 15%, and when our parents bought in the 70s, above 20% in some cases. Even though rates are higher than the ultra-low pandemic levels, which none of us will probably ever see again, they are still historically low and going lower. Many buyers are eager to jump in, and here's the kicker. Mortgage Bankers Association predicts that rates could dip below 5% by 2025. What does that mean to you? More affordability equals more buyers looking. And if rates drop as predicted, home sales could rise by as much as 5 to 12%. That's anywhere between 200,000 and 480,000 additional sales next year.
That's additional sales. That's not sides. So you're talking about 400,000 to a million additional sides. There's 2 sides to every transaction.
You should be prepared for a busier market. And we just told you about the Ethical Real Estate Professional program where we're helping you work with buyers more professionally. I would not wait on that. Okay.
Now we're going to get into the weeds. This is getting a little bit nerdish, but I've done my best to try to make this as clear as possible. So for those of you who are working out or driving or whatever, you don't have to think too hard about what we're about to say.
That's right. And you can get the notes. All right. So number 2, demographic shifts. We're talking about millennials, Gen Z, and baby boomers. These demographics are all in play. The housing market is set for a demographic push that's hard to ignore. Now in their prime home buying years, millennials, for example, made up 43% of home buyers in 2022. This generation, who is aged 27 to 42, isn't just looking for starter homes. They're also upgrading as their families grow. Meanwhile, Gen Z isn't far behind, with 72% of Gen Z planning to buy a home within the next 5 years. That's a whole lot of people. We're about to see a new wave of demand. And let's not forget about the baby boomers. Many baby boomers are downsizing and looking for smaller, more manageable homes in their retirement years. 39% of sellers in 2022 were boomers. This will continue to open up the inventory for younger buyers and provide agents with more opportunities to help both generations meet their changing needs.
So if you want to know what a problem would look like, I'm going to tell you what a problem would look like. This is it. This is the one thing that I don't care what the interest rates are or anything else is going to be able to overcome. Lack of demand. That's it. If there were a lack of demand for housing, then I'd say we should all pack it up and go home and go do something else. But the very fact that there are literally millions and millions of people that are poised to want to do a real estate transaction in the next, say, 1 to 10 years is like nothing we've ever seen before. You know what the baby boomers did for housing in terms of increasing demand, not just for real estate, for everything, but the younger generations, there are more of them, like baby boomers made the millennials. The millennials are making the Zs. By the way, Julie and I are Generation X. We got forgotten about.
Completely ignored.
And we're fine with that, to be honest. I don't feel left out.
No, it's okay.
Anyway, so what we're seeing, it's like a triangle, right? As the groups essentially start to replicate, make babies, they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I know there's all these people talking about there's this trend of not enough people having babies and the rest of it. I researched that. Not true. So if you look at overall, the growth in America is definitely going to be more people wanting homes, and not just more by a small number, more by millions and millions and millions. You are in the perfect industry poised for what will be an absolute multi-generational boom.
Why else should you be excited? The American dream of homeownership is still alive. Despite economic uncertainty and shifting markets, the dream of owning a home still remains strong. 75% of Americans still see homeownership as a key part to achieving their financial success, and 87% of buyers purchase homes for long-term wealth building. That means that even when the market seems tough, people are still motivated to buy. And for agents, this means steady demand, as Tim just said, even in fluctuating markets. Homeownership is a profoundly emotional and financial goal, and it provides you with ongoing opportunities to help clients reach their dreams.
Tech AI is not going to delegate agents. There's not going to be look, you want proof? Here's the proof. Over the last, I think, 5 years, there has been tens of millions of dollars have been invested in tech companies that have tried to essentially disintermediate the real estate agent from the transaction. There have been some of the biggest, brightest minds in the tech corridor with the fattest checkbooks rolling into our industry trying to get rid of us. And you know what happened? All of them waved the white flag, and most of them ended up trying to sell us, leads, right? Or CRMs. So they ended up having to hit hard reset on their models to get rid of real estate agents. And now they're basically all on our side trying to, be vendors for us. That's the moral of the story. By us, I mean all of you real estate agents. So realize that the tech and the demographics are going to create more opportunity for agents, not less opportunity for agents.
Exactly. So more to be excited about. Number 4, expanded mortgage programs open doors for more buyers. The talking point lately is that houses are so unaffordable. And I love this point. We're going to do more on tomorrow's podcast about this too. Expanded mortgage programs. There are more mortgage options available now than ever before. Programs like FHA loans, which require lower down payments, and VA loans for veterans, combined with USDA loans for rural buyers, are opening up opportunities for a broader range of people to buy homes. Now, those are the ones that we hear about. Those are probably the top 3. There's hundreds of these programs.
Let's drill down. We talked about this last week. There's over 20 different first-time home buyer programs. In addition to that, I forget how many grant programs there are
Tons.
to help them with their down payments. It's off the charts, the amount of opportunity. When Julie and I were buying our first house, which was 30 years ago?
Let's just say in the 90s.
Let's just say in the 90s, right? When we were buying our first house in the 90s, there were a total of 0 programs available for us. We looked. All right. And now as we were selling real estate, you'd learn about more programs, but not like there is now. There are so many programs and opportunities for first-time home buyers to buy homes. And if you actually look at the market, of all the homes sold last year, Julie, what was the ratio? 43% were to first-time buyers?
Something like that, yeah.
So the reason we're telling you this is that do not believe the hype about first-time buyers being priced out of homes. There are, in some most expensive markets, that's true, but they're still buying homes, and there's still more mortgage programs available than ever before.
There's tons of low down payment conventional loans. You don't have to be a first-time buyer to have some of these, but it does make sense for a lot of them. And down payment assistance programs, those are things like grants. Those are generally offered at the state level, making homeownership more attainable, especially for first-time buyers. This gives you, as the agent, more flexibility to match buyers with the right financing options and helps turn interested shoppers into homeowners. Now, I looked up a few ways to find these because there are so many. We all know about FHA, VA, and USDA, but what about all these other ones? You can find programs in your state and your city by going to HUD.gov/buying/local buying. Really, if you just go to HUD.gov, there's so many resources there, you'll find it. And nerdwallet.com has a search widget for finding special financing programs, including those for rehab, for flips, for first-time buyers, and more. And another myth that we didn't have in our notes is the average is not 20% down. The average is something like 12% down now.
Right.
So remove that from your brains.
Point number 5, new construction is on fire.
That's right. Builders are working hard to meet the demand, which is good news for buyers who have struggled with the limited inventory. In 2024, 1.5 million new homes are expected to be completed, increasing to 1.7 million next year and 1.8 million in 2026. According to Freddie Mac, by 2028, we could be looking at 2 million new homes hitting the market annually. That's extremely good news. This growth in new home construction will ease inventory shortages and give buyers more choices. With builders offering incentives like rate buy-downs and upgrades, new homes are becoming even more attractive to buyers.
Oh my God, Julie, we have to move to point 6 and 7. Point 6 and 7, I was so excited about when I was researching this.
Yes.
And this is the best news ever, but I'm going to let my beautiful wife be the purveyor of wonderful news.
I'm excited as well. As interest rates dip and buyer demand increases, refer to previous points, we can expect steady growth in the number of sales over the next decade. Here's what the projections look like. 2024, between 4.2 and 4.4 million homes sold. Remember, that's transactions, double that for sides, right?
Right. And also they're expecting, and I researched this from a whole bunch of different, I very, very rarely use real estate websites or real estate data sources when I'm because I'm worried about the bias. But I did find in every example that the real estate websites were actually like the Altos Research and all these others were actually in alignment with the Fed predictions. So in those cases, I used essentially the averages from whatever source gave me the lower number. So when we were coming out with these numbers, they're expecting home sales leading into 2025 to increase because of lower rates and also because of the available inventory in a lot of parts of the country. Not all, but most is up by double digits. So in 2024, we're anticipating 4.2 to 4.8 million home sales. That does not include new construction. I should have said home sales, not including new construction.
Right.
But it gets better.
In 2025, 4.5 million to 4.75 million homes sold. 2026, we're going to get close to 5 million homes sold. 2027, 5.25 million homes sold. And 2028, 5.5 million homes sold.
Specifically, 2026 was 4.8 to 5 million homes sold. 2027 is 5.1 to 5.25 million homes sold. And 2028 is 5.3 to 5.5 million homes sold. Now, what is this showing you? It's showing you a steady, predictable increase because they're taking into account, when I was doing all of this, the assumption that, essentially demographics are still going to point to more transactions, and they're not expecting an avalanche of increase in inventory is what I'm trying to say. A very predictable supply of homes for sale and a very predictable number of buyers buying the available homes.
In other words, with more inventory comes more sales.
Right.
It does not create a real estate crash because the demand is still higher than the supply.
Don't you be jumping on one of my points, lady. Point number 7.
Commission growth. That's what we've been waiting to hear, right? More sales equals more income. With rising home sales, we're talking about number of sales, comes an increase in commissions. Makes sense? Based on an average commission rate of 5 to 6%, here's the breakdown of what total commissions could look like over the next 5 years. 2024, somewhere between $240 and $268 billion. Some of that should be yours. 2025, $255 to $285 billion. 2026, the range will be $270 to $300 billion. 2027, $285 to $315 billion, and 2028, $300 billion to $330 billion worth of commission floating around out there.
And because Julie brought it up, there is not going to be any kind of correction, crash, or reduction in home values in a meaningful way. And I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about this. That doesn't mean there's not going to be price reductions on listings. That's normal. It's called a normal market. But a precipitous drop in home prices is not going to happen. Do not expect it to happen. And anybody that's telling you that's going to happen is most certainly trying to sell you something like get your name on an REO list, or somehow you're supposed to believe the sky is going to fall. You need to purge those types of people from your mind and from your airwaves, basically, and your earwaves, or they're going to ruin your potential. Your head's not going to be pointing in the right direction, which is towards what absolutely is going to be a housing boom.
Exactly. So your future is bright. Bottom line, housing market is on the upswing, and real estate agents like you are in the prime position to take advantage of what's coming. With interest rates expected to continue to drop, new buyers entering the market, and plenty of inventory on the way, now's the time to get excited about the future. Stay resilient, embrace the changes, upgrade your skills, prepare for a surge in sales, in listings, and in commissions. The housing market is poised for a rebound, and so is your business. What are you doing about it?
It's interesting. Everyone thinks that, so-and-so became rich because they had a bunch of things, stars aligned for them. Like, you look at some of the greatest fortunes in the history of history. Oh, it's Rockefeller did this, and DuPont did this, and, Bill Gates did that, and, Elon Musk. They're all at the right place at the right time. And you know what? That is partially true. I'm sure there would have been no Steve Jobs had he not been growing up, living where he was living, having access to the people he had access to. But, so there's a function of luck, but there's also a function of taking advantage of the market when it's offering you an opportunity. That is what we're all facing down right now. I am here to tell you, and you do your best to come up with a reason why what we're saying is incorrect. Post it in comments. Message me on Instagram. Let me know what you think. But we are sincerely, unbelievably excited and motivated by what's going to start transpiring over the next few years. I can't even think of a reason why we'd be wrong. That's how, frankly, biased I am towards optimism. Because I'll give you one. If interest rates go up, are interest rates going to go up, dear listener? No, they are not. So when interest rates go down, here's the hype cycle, okay? Interest rates are going to go down. What's going to do to inventory? The inventory is going to start selling off. What's going to happen to home values? Home values are going to start going up. What's going to happen to rents? Rents are going to start going up. It's going to shake first-time buyers loose who are tired of paying their ever-increasing rent prices. They're going to worry about the train leaving the station without them as far as home prices. They're going to jump back in the markets. Increased inventory is going to cause more people to want to sell their homes and buy up or buy down. The whole cycle is going to this whole cycle is going to essentially reinforce all the other aspects of it, and it's just going to pick up momentum. This is like an old diesel, like old steam train. You guys can imagine that? Have you ever seen one of those before? It starts getting moving slowly. The wheel starts spinning on the tracks. Can you guys hear the noise from the steam train? I'm visualizing a big black locomotive with all the steam going everywhere. But eventually, the wheels stop, spinning on the tracks. That's what we've been doing for the last 3 to 5 years. We've been spinning, for the most part, at the exact same number of transactions. But now, finally, physics is working for us, and we're finally starting to move away from the train station. And as the train starts picking up speed, everyone's going to have FOMO. They're going to want to get on that train. They're going to want to be a part of this new housing boom. What I'm here to tell you is you want to be one of the early people on the train. You want to get there soon. You want to get your mindset wrapped around the fact that you are in the right place at the right time. Now it's going to be up to you to make the most of this opportunity. I don't know how long this market's going to last. Personally, from everything I've been reading, 5 to 10 years. Why am I predicting that? Because that's what demographics tells us. The baby boomers, the millennials, the Generation Z, the people younger than that, they, make other people. They make babies. They need homes. There's not enough real estate for sale. There's new construction that's not going to catch up to the demand for housing for quite a while. You're going to see this whole gratuitous cycle is going to continue to pick up momentum. So please do not allow yourself to get pulled into the malaise and the nastiness that is everywhere around us, especially from politics. Don't get sucked into it. Just focus on the fact that your highest and truest purpose on this planet is to be of service to other people. You made the right decision to get a real estate license. Now screw your head on straight and realize that you're just the start of what's going to be one of the best, if not the best, long-term boom cycles of your business and professional life.
Exactly. Now, we've given you 7 very specific, very drilled down points of why you need to be super optimistic. Our job is to educate you, motivate you. Now, your job is to get into action. Get the notes, turn them into posts, take action, help more people. What else should they do for homework, Tim?
Well, I want all of them to get on the list to be invited to become ethical real estate professional designees. I mean, you have to do that. The ethical real estate professional designation is going to be something. Look, we're not trying to. Some people heard about it and were asking us if we were trying to replace NAR. Are you kidding me? I'd never want to be in the NAR business, right? No, never. And frankly, the National Association of Realtors Code of Ethics is fantastic. But what this is going to pertain to, this is going to be something that's going to be a prestigious designation that agents are going to want to be associated with, that is going to essentially give them a sense of, you need a reason why people are going to want to do business with you. You're going to need a differentiator in the marketplace. And when you proudly demonstrate that you're an ethical real estate professional, and you're going to have a very smart looking designation used for marketing, we've written press releases for you. You're going to have a unique presentation. All the unique selling propositions that you think you have to spend your lifetime trying to build, we've created for you. This is going to be a turnkey solution to the problem that you already know you have, but it's going to become even more of a problem over the next 3 to 6 months. You're going to discover very soon, guys, in most of these marketplaces, that the agents that have been flying without using exclusive buyer agency contracts, they're going to show up to closings with no commission. And don't let that happen to you, dear listener. If you're working with a buyer right now and you don't have an exclusive signed, you have no entitlement to get paid. You're going to do the work, put them in contract, nurse that transaction to closing, show up to closing, and not get paid a cent. You have to be using exclusive buyer agency contracts. You don't know how to. You don't know how to get them signed. What's the compelling reason why a buyer would want to work exclusively with you? We've solved the problem that you already know exists. So text the word buyer, B-U-Y-E-R, to 47372. Text the word buyer to 47372 and be part of the ethical real estate professional movement. It starts hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I'm doing my best. But in the meantime, get on the list to be invited. Over 500 of you have been smart. You've taken action. Go ahead and do that now. Text the word buyer, B-U-Y-E-R, to 47372. When the webinar is ready to launch, where we're going to be discussing the designation, all of you will be invited, but only if you were on that list. We're going to treat our podcast listeners like the unbelievably powerful, smart, intelligent, beautiful people that you all are, and we're going to give you early advantage to get part of this program. So text the word BUYER, B-U-Y-E-R, to 47372. Do that now. That is your homework. Have a fantastic day. We'll talk with you on the show tomorrow.